Hi, welcome to P32's Workshop. My name's Jim Gary. This channel is about the things I do in my shop, including restoration of a 25-year-old motorhome, my old British sports cars, tools I use, and projects I do. I release videos every Friday and sometimes also on Tuesdays. If you're interested in previous videos, please look for the links in the description below. The past few weeks, I've been removing the brake master cylinder and the Hydroboost. And the Hydroboost is what powers the brakes, connecting to the master cylinder behind and the brake pedal linkage in front. These components are underneath the floor of the cab mounted to the frame. Once the left front wheel is removed, you'll see a large sheet metal shield or guard that protects these brake components when the motorhome is underway. With that shield in place, believe me, it's difficult to reach or even see the master cylinder and the Hydroboost, except from directly below. I'll show you how I remove the shield, including the discovery of a tack weld, in addition to the bolts that hold it in place. Once you know about the tack weld, it's easy to remove the shield and thus easier to work on the master cylinder, Hydroboost, pedal linkage, and other parts. Be aware that I am a biologist, not a mechanic. I'm showing you what I did, not necessarily what you should do. So please consult with a professional mechanic before tackling a job like this. So let's get on with the video. I'm getting ready to take out the master cylinder, and it's behind this shield here, and the shield is held in by a bunch of bolts. They're basically machine screws like this here, and they were just stuck in like that. They would come out with 1/2-inch sockets, and I've taken out all the ones I can reach from here. There's another place where there's some bolts, so I'll move the camera a little bit. So now we're looking up. So over here is the master cylinder. So it's pretty much underneath the driver's seat toward the front. As you go over, there is this shroud that has to come off. It's got a couple other attachment points. I showed you the one on the outside of it, but also if you look up close inside, there was one in here that I removed. And if you look up higher, you can see one of the bolts that has to be removed from inside the cab. So that's what we're going to go for. So now we're inside the air-conditioned cool comfort of the RV. And this is looking forward, just forward where the seat would be. So the seat, if it were in, would be about here and end here. And this is where your feet would mostly be here or here. So I'm going to have to remove this, and I'll just do that with a screwdriver. And then I'll have to pry off the old silicone, scrape it off, get access to the bolt, get the bolt off, and then we'll be good to go. So I found the two metal screws that are still holding it on. I said they were like sheet metal screws. They're not. They've got pointy ends, but they actually go into captured bolts that are kind of spot welded on the other side. So here's one here that's got to come out. There it goes. Pretty good. So it's got a pointy end, just like in the ones that were underneath. So on the other side there's another one of those screws. I've got this one loose on the back side, but I put this back in so the whole piece of shielding won't fall down. Let's try laying the camera back here and just hope for the best. There. Yeah. There it is. So I think we're good. So now all I have to do is remove this one that I put back in, and I think when we go back under, we should be able to just wiggle that piece of sheet metal shielding away from the master cylinder. So let's go have a look. So let's see if it'll come out now. This is the piece of metal of the shield that we're trying to remove. And this is not. This is just a piece of the floor structure. And I just noticed there's a spot weld right here. Somebody just did a quick little tack weld, it looks like to me. And that's what's holding it in, I think. So I'm going to try to get it out with this little die grinder on my drill. I was up in the cab and I switched to a Dremel. Unfortunately, I didn't catch it on video. I had the camera set up but had not started the camera. as soon as I cut through that spot weld, with which the drum only took about a minute, the whole thing just came crashing down. So I'm just going to pull it out. That's a big chunk of sheet metal. It's nice to roll out of the car and have a faithful Irish setter or two ready for you. Millie, come here. Yeah, that's a good girl. Hey, Quinn. Come here, Quinn. Come on. Oh, he doesn't want to come over. So here's that panel. Again, I think this hole is to get access to the reservoir. And here's where that spot weld was, right here. And that's where I just ground through it. Let's take a look now that I've got the shield off, and now we can see everything. It's a lot easier to see. And what you'll notice is here's the master cylinder, there's the tank for it. This unit here is the hydraulic brake booster, and it's actually plumbed into this power steering pump, so it's kind of an unusual one. It just goes from here to here, but my understanding is those aren't really available, although I did see a video where somebody modified a later model one to fit this particular chassis. So if I think I need to replace it, I can. But obviously you got to go a long way in to get to that. So I want to know now, try to figure it out. And I'll just look for leaks and stuff like that. So there's pipes in the back behind here. I'll have to get under it to show them to you. And those are the two brake lines. There's one that's wider, and I think that's for the back brakes. There's a narrower one, and I guess that's for the front brakes. So I've got to remove this bolt, the one behind it, and I think I'm going to have to remove these two bracket bolts here too. So I'm going to go ahead and give them all a little bit of PB Blaster. And let's see if we can break this loose. Yep, it's coming this easy. So on the back side, this is going to stick out far enough to avoid this, and I think it will with this long, deep well socket. So I'm going to crawl under there and see what happens. Still can't see it, but I can feel it. I can't get the socket on the nut squarely. Feels like it's smaller. I'm going to take this other one completely off and just make sure it's the right size. Wondering if this is a metric bolt, because it's just a little bit loose on this socket. So I've got the nut off. I'm going to go check it out. It turned out it was actually measured as 15 millimeters, so I got a 15 millimeter socket. And it's really funny to me because the manual says everything's metric on here, and I really haven't run into much in the way of metric. There, not seating on there. There it goes. I'm probably blocking the view with my arm. Luckily, this is one of those wobbly extensions, so it gives you a little leeway. There, it's come off. So these are lock nuts. Okay, so notice I still can't get the thing off because this bracket's attached here. So they seem to be 15 millimeter. To the other side, I want to know if it's a captured nut or if there's a nut on the other side I'm going to have to grab. Yep, there's a nut on the other side. They're moving, but the nut is moving on the other side too, so I've got to get 15 millimeters. If there was any logic in the world, because it would be a 15. Yeah, that seems to be it. I think the wrench just locked into place back there. And I'm guessing that's another lock nut on the back because it doesn't want to come out. The proper direction. There it goes. So now I'll try to get the upper one. Okay, so that's off. Let's see if we can pull this out now. There, so this is what I've got to remove. I think it'll just come right out. Yep, there it is, in all its glory. There's the bracket, and here's the master cylinder. So again, this is the brake hydraulic unit, and I do see some oil underneath it, so I don't know if it's leaking or what, but I'll look into that a little bit later. I'm getting ready to remove this whole Hydroboost assembly here, and since I've taken off the metal shield that was over here, it's really easy to get to, and so there's a few bolts, and the whole assembly, including down here and up here, will all come off. I just have to disconnect these steering brake lines. And I've noticed that other people that have done this haven't taken off that shield, and it was really hard for them to get it off. But I've looked at these nuts and bolts, and mostly they're 9/16 and 1/2 inch. I'm gonna take these lines off. So here's a line that goes to the steering pump. There's the steering pump right over there. So this line has to come out. And I've got a cap I hope I can put over it to prevent it from spilling too much. And there's another line, but it's just connected with a hose clamp up here, and I'll have to take that off too. So I'm going to get those done first, and I think this is a 19mm. And you can see how this would be really hard if I hadn't taken off that shield, that metal shield that went all the way across here. That really makes this an easy job. Way too big. This one will work. So I have to lay in a puddle. So I've got a bucket down below. I'm just going to let it drain. I knew I was going to have to change all the fluids in this thing anyway. I apparently didn't have the camera running, but this hose was up here, and I was able to reach it from underneath and undo this hose clamp and pull it off, and now it's just draining the remainder fluid. I'm just going to put it up here out of the way. I'm going to start doing these bolts. And these seem to be 9/16 and they're not particularly tight, but I need a backup. So I've got another 9/16 wrench. Wasn't particularly tight, but it seems to be tight the whole way, so I think it's a locking nut. There's a washer built onto the nut. There is a washer, however, on the other side. So the bolt had a washer on the inside. So there it is. Take the other one off. I was looking around for the wrench and couldn't find it. It was sitting on my chest where I'd put it, so I would know where it was. It's kind of like, where's Grandpa's glasses? Oh, they're up on his head. There we go. When I first looked at this last fall, I thought, without that shield off, I thought, man, how can anybody work up here to even get to that unit? And I'm not sure the unit's not working, but it does leak. It's leaking, and that's why I want to replace it. So there's the other bolt. It's got a washer on the inside and that kind of locking nut. So that's 2 down, only 3 to go. So this nut has to come off. It's also 9/16. It's funny how sometimes you're laying upside down and you get disoriented about which way is right and which way is left. Again, this feels like it's a lock nut. Seems to be loose. Yep. And it's again the same deal. It's a washer on the bolt and a locking nut. And I'm just going to compare. I think it's the exact same size as the other ones I took out. So I see a nut way up in the top here, which you won't be able to see, and it's attached to a hydraulic line. It's just a hold-on clamp attached to a hydraulic line. That seems to be the only thing that nut is doing. I'll do that off camera because I can't figure out a way to get the camera under here for you to see. There's just not room. So up through this little crack here, you can see where my finger is. There's a little bracket that holds a steering fluid or a transmission cooling line, I believe, in place. And there was a little 1/2 inch nut and bolt holding it on to here. So I had to take that off. And that wasn't very difficult because I can get at it from the back because I took off this shield that's normally here. And then on this side, I took this bolt loose. It's got some weight on it, so it's not going to come off quite yet. This is where the brake pedal a linkage comes down and attaches to this whole unit. And right now, just this bolt over here and this cotter pin and nut here are what are holding the whole unit in. So, by the way, it was this bolt that was a little bit too tight. It's got a cotter pin so it can't come off, but it's got to be not completely tight. See, you can see that washer can spin now. But when I first got this RV, I would find that the brake lights were always on, and then I realized that I had to pull the pedal up to get the brake lights to go off, and I puzzled over that for a long time, and I ran across a video, and I can't remember where I found the video, and the guy in there had discovered that all you have to do is loosen this bolt nut just a little bit, make sure you leave the cotter pin in, and then that reduces the friction so your pedal will return all the way. Turned out to be such a simple little thing. Anyway, let's see if I can get this cotter pin out. I'll pull it out and I'll come back. So here I've got the wrench on it. I've got the cotter pin out. The whole thing's loose, but there's a lot of pressure on this. I just want to show you how it's not that hard to reach. So here it is. Here's the nut coming off. It was, again, a lock nut, so it came off, and then there's a washer. So all I have to do is, with both hands, lift this up, take the bolt my thumb is pointing to, just slide it out, and then I should be able to work the whole thing out. So you should be able to see this here. That's the bolt nut I just took off that had the cotter pin. And I'm gonna, from underneath, with both hands, work this other bolt loose. Here it comes. And it's just like the others. It has a washer and kind of a cap looking nut. That's a lock nut. So I got that. So now I just have to jiggle this whole thing loose and get it out of there. Oh, that's interesting. It's got a rubber washer on it. It explains that it's supposed to be loose, that it has this rubber or plastic washer on it. So now this whole thing should just be able to be fidgeted out of here. Still feel like there's something connected. Ouch! Oh, there's another line. I missed a hydraulic line. This one right here, I'll get that off. Okay, it seems to be 16 millimeter. There it goes. There it goes. Luckily I got the bucket in place. So now the whole thing comes right out. There she is. So I've got it sitting on that bucket. I'll take it in the shop in a minute. But what's amazing to me is all the stuff you can see now. So here's those two hydraulic lines, the one I couldn't see. Here's that return line up here. Probably have to take that off. Here's the linkage from the brake, and here's the power steering business end. So it's kind of amazing how well everything can be seen. Over here you can just see all the spark plugs and everything. With that panel there, you couldn't replace the spark plugs. And here I can really easily get to these brake lines. The flexible brake lines I've got to replace too. So on the bench, here's the master cylinder here, here's the Hydroboost, and here's the linkage for the brake pedal that you saw in the earlier part of the video. So the master cylinder pops right off, and if you notice, it fits, but not real snugly. So it's these bolts that seem to center it, as opposed to this part here fitting tightly into the hole where it goes. Look into the master cylinder, this is the piston. Goes in and out. And that gets pushed, not by you directly, but via hydraulics, via the Hydroboost. So it's got a piston here that pushes against the cylinder or the piston in the master cylinder. And then this is just the connection between the Hydroboost and the pedal. So you lift the pedal up, it moves that piston. There it goes. Well, that about wraps it up. Again, if you're interested in other content on my channel, please take a look at the links in the description below. Thanks for watching. If you found this useful, please like and subscribe. Bye.